minutes after setting off from Hudson, I hit darkness. And then I also have to admit that I was stupidly drunk. The first thing that is a no-no when it comes to being out in the elements, being out in 40 below weather on a snow machine. I'd been at a local watering hole in Hudson with some of my friends at the time and a number of former students of the Indian residential school system, and of course we were drunk, partying, as if there was no tomorrow. And we were kids, we were young men, drunk in a haze that, masked, buried our wounds from residential school. Anyway, I jumped on the snowmobile that night. I was heading to Lac Seul, which would have been about roughly a 20-mile snowmobile ride, a fast machine, and somehow I lost control of my snow machine and it got stuck, and I couldn't lift the snow machine out of where it was stuck in deep snow and slush. And so being a young, fairly strong, physically strong as a young man, lots of energy, and being very foolish, I decided, well, I've only got about 6 miles to walk. I'm going to walk the rest of the way. And by then it was dark already. I started walking, and pretty soon I thought, I'd be home in about an hour. It wasn't that far. I had about 6 more miles to walk across the lake, across the frozen lake to the community of Kejick Bay. Anyway, as the sun went down, it was dark. I had wandered way off the beaten track, as they say, off the Skidoo Trail, only to realize that I was walking in deep snow and in deep slush. And slush is it's just what it is. It's water underneath a layer of snow, and when you get into it, you get all wet, and of course it's water. And it's kind of a dangerous thing to walk in. And pretty soon I was walking around aimlessly in the dark, trying to find the lost point of land. Like, you see that point over there jutting out? I was looking for that point of land, thinking once I get around that, I could see home from there, and then I can walk. Then I can walk home from there, get a sense of direction. Well, little did I know that that was not the point of land I was looking for, and next thing you know, I was starting to feel really lost. And I was losing energy because I was walking in slush. My legs and my pants were frozen, of course, all iced up and getting heavier and heavier. And so the walking became very challenging. And not only that, I lost all sense of direction because that night I encountered a very heavy snowstorm, a blizzard actually. With the winds howling around me and the temperature dipping down as cold as 40 below. It was very cold. And so one of the things I did was I buried myself in snow, and snow acts as an insulator, and so that I did, and I felt a little bit warmer because of the snow acting as an insulator, but I also remember yelling for help, screaming as loud as I could, yelling out, "Help! I'm over here!" To the stillness of the night, nobody around to hear my plea, to hear my cry for help. It was a long night. That was a long night. You know, lying in the middle of the lake like this. Yeah, it was a long night. And at one point during the night, I could see in the distance, way off in the distance, 2 lights just flickering. And those were lights flickering from, there were 2 snowmobiles. I later found out that one of them was my father and the other one was an uncle. They knew I was coming home and they knew that I was late and I hadn't shown up at the time that I said that I would show up, so they went out looking for me. But they didn't find me that night because my tracks had blown over. I was in a blizzard and but then my mind was starting to really play tricks on me. Was I hallucinating? Was I having a vision? Or what was happening to me? Or was I really fading into the next world, you know? These questions danced around in my mind, and I'm thinking about one of my cousins. His name was Ian Anderkin, and we went to residential school together. We were about the same age, and I'd say about 3 years before that, my incident, he had frozen to death too, not very far from where I was lying at that night. So I had thoughts of him and what he must have gone through, what I was now going through at that time and at night.